It came out of nowhere and it shouldn't survive sort of crowded market.
And Jacko, today you're writing about someone who is famous in
do more with less, all that sort of stuff. We need to make noise and we need to get the big interviews and we need to be seen to be doing that. We're not here to just sort of be middle of the road. Middle of the road, you get run over. So we're here to make noise. So that's the non-selfish reason for doing it. The journalistic reason for doing it is
this is exactly what Whitejacket was about. Three people turned up to do precursor to a podcast, a little bit of a chinwag about the issues of the day on 9 in their afternoon news bulletin. And unfortunately, they all turned up wearing white jackets.
As a result,
Amber Sherlock, one of the reporters, then 9 News reporter Julie Snook, no uncertain terms that she should change and not be wearing a white jacket. Julie took umbrage to this suggestion, and the withering stares from both of them, I think, even made people who were not in the industry blush.
Yeah, Julie was doing a lot of like big eyes, like, what's going on here? I don't understand. And Amber was doing a lot of like, honey, this is not my first rodeo, kind of tapping her pen. She was furious.
That's way too good, actually.
The point that she made was kind of right. I actually thought Amber Sherlock was right in that moment. Her delivery might not have been good, but they did look like they were in a Chemist Warehouse infomercial.
To preserve some of the friendships I had,
and I tell you what, like, she was right. Whether or not you have to be warned to wear different clothes, it's one of those things when you go out on a television shoot, you've got to tell the talent, block colours, no patterns that will disrupt the camera,
but in doing so,
piercings or visible tattoos. But when you're a reporter, you know those rules yourself, so you should turn up presentable, and she should have also clocked it. But it's funny, within moments, I was at 9 at that time, working at 60 Minutes, and within moments of that happening, it just went around the station like wildfire. Everyone's pulling it up on the system. Unfortunately, one person pulled it up on the system. It was too good to keep within 9, and next thing you know, it was out to every network, and then it was out to all and sundry, and they became famous.
And now Amber Sherlock has left 9 to spend a lot more time with her family, probably more than she wants to be spending. She was sacked. She was made redundant by 9 earlier this year, shortly after she celebrated her 50th birthday. And surprisingly, or maybe not, given her conduct in Jacket Gate, she's not taking it quietly.
She isn't. Well, there's a few withering glances going at the moment as well.
I'm transgender.
They're surprised. And the thing is, she's come out, she's spoken about, she's saying that she thinks that her age was a key factor in it. They're already saying we are not ageist. That is completely untrue. And I've got to say, I agree with them.
Well, this is the network, though, that in our working lives, Jacko, so in the past couple of decades, has been hiring women for their affability and not been shy about it.
That's the famous John Westacott quote, and I think anyone who worked with John Westacott, and I spent 2 weeks of work experience under him, knows full well that is how he spoke. I actually did do the numbers last year, and it might have changed, but I added up the ages of the 30 most prominent women in commercial media across 7, 9, and 30 most prominent male on air
not answering your questions
and the women came out marginally older on average.
I'll come with you. And jumps in.
There's a massive audience out there who wants to hear women's opinions, and that's
Get out of my taxi.
Of the success of Chat 10 Looks 3. This is the podcast hosted by
You know what happened? He's crossing the road, so we had,
and dare I say,
I was
over
20 kilos more hair and 20
Australian
kilos
media.
less.
They started this podcast,
but we were crossing the road
ago,
with him,
and back then it was like this little site. I don't know what's a podcast. What are you talking about? How do I get one of those? Have I got to download an app? And they've been along for the whole ride, and they've seen it evolve. So when we see people like Jackie O. Henderson and her agent slash would-be co-presenter Gemma O'Neill trying to do the same thing on couches, cuddled up with pillows, talking about what they're reading. They're all mimicking a very successful formula that Annabelle Crabb and Lee Sales sort of pioneered in that space in at least Australia.
They certainly did, and they bring huge smarts. They're very relatable, they're very warm, they genuinely are really good friends and funny. And the challenge, though, which they're facing as everyone in audio, I think, is monetisation. We're seeing huge contraction in audio now, where
he's in the front seat,
podcast
yelling at the
creators
cab driver to drive to the
creating a premium stream where you have to pay to subscribe for certain episodes, or you have to go and see them live to help support their their podcast being free.
When the cab drives
That's
off,
certainly been the case with the world's
fall out
most
of the
successful
car,
podcast. Now Annabella Lee is saying the same thing. Although that's still not going to be enough.
Yeah.
What's
all
the
journalism comes with some
Well, they're
risks,
already
and we
doing
talked
the live
about,
shows,
the
as
risks
you
you
know.
took with the Bruce
They're also have pre-roll ads in all their programs. They're putting out more podcasts. They're doing one a week, and they're selling like everyone else merch. And I'm still waiting to get my merch from the front. Hopefully that's coming soon. But
they're an apron. I might get you a jumper, actually.
I could do with one, as long as it's not a white jacket. But I don't know what the solution is, and tellingly, they don't know what it is. I mean,
the militias that we're going
you obviously listen to a lot more podcasts than me, but it seems everyone's doing the same things. So by virtue,
plebiscite, we went up
where
to
is
film
the money
with
to be
Richard
made?
Carlton.
I think audiences have to get used to the idea that if you like something and value it, just like television, you are now going to have to pay, because the old-fashioned model of advertising support, that doesn't work in the age of giant tech companies like Google and Facebook, which can undercut any publisher. So it doesn't matter whether you're an independent podcast publisher or a giant news organisation, you cannot compete with Google and Facebook in terms of ad revenue. So ads don't work as a source of funding. That means you need subscriber revenue. You need people to pay to be part of the club. A lot of Australia's most popular podcasters have already done this. They're also turning them into videos. I mean, that is why podcasters are going to YouTube, because it's much easier to monetize, and YouTube will do the monetization for you. It's a shame, because there is something beautiful about the audio-only conversation. There's a level of warmth and depth that I think you can get from listening to two smart people like Annabella and Lee talk while you're walking the dog or doing the dishes or reading a boring report at work.
Well, clearly that's what a lot of people are doing, because I had a look today. So for their audio podcast, 100,000 listeners almost every episode, and they're chatting away for an hour and 40 minutes sometimes only 33 minutes. I suppose it depends on what tickles their fancy that week. But when you have a look at their YouTube audience, obviously a lot of people are rusted onto the old format, because they'll have 2,000 views or 500 views, and their subscription base is really quite modest. It's 3,500 subscribers.
There's a real gender thing here, I think. Some of the men who started out in podcasting have transitioned almost wholly to video. So Joe Rogan, for example, is a YouTube play. That's where Carl Stefanovic is going. I think it's something about the difference between the audiences. Men want to watch their conversation. Women want to listen to it, and without being a sexist, I think it's partly because women are busy. Women are driving to pick up kids, they're cooking, they're cleaning, even when they're having their downtime, they're doing something, they're multitasking.
And here's the interesting thing, on the way up there,
whereas I think men spend a bit more time sitting on the sofa watching YouTube.
Absorbing more information, getting really delving into the weeds.
I know that sometimes you will use YouTube as a search engine, won't you? You're interested in an issue, let's say it's, the Hormuz Strait, and you'll search for that on YouTube, and you want to watch an explainer about it.
I know everyone 5 years ago was saying, let's make minute-long explainers, but I don't want a minute-long explainer. That's not enough. I want 10 minutes. I don't want half an hour. I want 10 minutes. And you're right. I want to watch it. I want to see the maps. I want to get my head around, and maybe that's just a way different people absorb information, but I need those visual cues. I need those visual cues, and I really enjoy being able to see what people are saying in their body language. But I mean, when you listen to Chat 10 Looks 3, is that you're just listening to it?
I would rather just listen to it, because
I don't know what the point of the story is, other than the fact that
like
the simple engagement with somebody on a human level changed
rather
things
than
that
being
day for me,
something I want to sit down and watch. I'm too busy watching Below Deck, sailing the yacht. I don't have time for watching Chat 10 Looks 3.
Well, the difference, I suppose, is because we're in journalism, big advocates of paying for people's journalism. I know I have subscriptions to half a dozen websites. Even the ones I could get for free through work, I pay for. I make a point of paying for them, because you want to support people at other mastheads. So probably for you, happy to pay, but do you reckon a lot of people go, now that you're charging $2, I can get clone copy of this podcast somewhere else?
I really think
some years
if people
ago
value a product, they will pay. But just like Netflix, all the streaming services, HBO, they don't make it optional. It's like, if you want this, you're going to have to pay. And really, it's not that much. $8 a month, really, for the streaming platforms. Something similar for most news products. I imagine Annabelle and Lee could very easily charge that. And they might not be getting 100,000 downloads for those.
So I decided, for a program called Witness, that we should
go over
to, and look, I'm not the only journalist who decided.
Well, I'm just doing the maths on that. That's 800,000 a month. They won't be on the ABC very long at those rates.
Now, I love
Miss
fighting with you
Venezuela
about Colin
contest
Jackie
in
Jacko, and I'm
Caracas,
hoping
where
we
they
can have a fight
decide who will
today.
be
What's
their
the
competitor
latest
in the Miss
with
World.
our favourite breakfast radio presenters who are no more?
I can tell you this for free. It's happened. We knew it would. Kyle has filed his statement of claim in the federal court against his former employer,
the person that made them so good was a guy called Osmel Sousa.
He wants what he was promised. He wants what he says he is owed, and he's not going to settle for a cent less.
And Osmel had an office, and we went to that
the
office,
balance
and it was
of what he
days
wants
of
to be paid out.
faxes.
100 million minus 14 months' work, and he says he wants the whole kit and caboodle. He's not interested in a quick little, hey, what about 20 million and we call it quits? He wants everything, and I kind of think, for mine, he's probably entitled to it.
I didn't tear down the
this is going to turn on whether or not he was able and willing to deliver on the services they were paying him for. He would say, I was absolutely willing, I was absolutely able, but you didn't let me talk to Jackie to resolve this situation.
Hello, Senior Bidder.
Yeah, he says it's like a catch-22.
Yes, our women,
given no chance to resolve the issues.
After the
says, as we've all been saying, which we argued about last time, is that he's been doing this same content for 20 years, and no one at any point has ever said, hey man, we've changed the script, that's no longer cool. This character he's been playing, that is the character he leans into on air, and I know everyone's sort of intimating he's a much warmer, charismatic, caring guy off air than he is the character he plays on the show. But he's saying, I've done that, I've done what you asked, you've promoted his radio gone rogue, I attract all the vitriol, I soak it up, and now you've said,
one of those stories
cool anymore. What gives?
He's always known to, and I think this whenever I read someone writing about what a misogynist Kyle is, yeah, sure, he's behaved like an absolute buffoon on air, which is what they were paying him to do, and which is what the audience tuned in for. But he's also the one who insisted that Jackie get paid the same amount as him. I haven't seen many other men in media do that.
Yeah, and if you listen to the show, a lot gets made of like, they did this crazy stunt and headlines about he said something stupid. The truth is, they plan those things. They know, hey, we're going to do this, and everyone's going to beat up on us, but it's going to be great because the ratings survey, and in radio it's still a survey, you fill in which shows, so you have this crazy stunt just as the survey goes out. Oh yeah, I did listen to it. I know about that. Yep. So all these things are planned. They're not just being vile and careless and stupid just because he's an idiot. He's actually very intelligent. It's all planned, and it's what the whole show's been centered around and advertised on. Radio goes rogue. So,
and you're writing today that Jackie is going to stand back and wait to see what happens with Kyle's lawsuit before she files her own. So actually, Kyle might be Australia's leading feminist here, Jacko. He's paving the way for his female former co-host to get her $100 million too.
Well, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what she does there, because her contract also torn up. She's missing out on the better part of $100 million paid over 10 years as well. The difference is ARN is going, all right, Kyle, we're going to just tell everyone you're reckless and that serious misconduct, because they know that'll play to a large portion of the community and who already hate him and have made up their mind, even though they're not his listeners. But for Jackie, they're going, hey, stick with us, we've got a show for you. That $100 million in 10 years? No, new deal, we've torn that one up, but we've got a new deal for you. Not quite as lucrative, but you're welcome back. And she's not, my sources are saying she's not engaging with that so far. She's going to wait and see quite cleverly how much does Kyle get before I decide what I'm going to do.
20-odd years ago,
bosses at ARN clearly thought they were geniuses for coming up with this idea of like, I know, we could say that he hasn't fulfilled his contract and then we don't have to pay the $100 million. If this goes wrong for them, they are going to be paying $100 million plus legal costs.
There is,
plus interest.
You do a story like this,
plus probably paying with their jobs. Like, this is a massive gamble for them. And there's a joke that goes, how do you make a small business investment, make a large business investment in a media company, right? So they know at this time they have to get rid of this contract.
Where you are in the space.
The new CEO's taking charge in January. Michael Stevenson, smart guy from Nine,
it's
former sales boss there. He's come in and he goes, we've got to get rid of this. The whole market cap of ARN is only $101 million. And we're paying these two guys like $200 million.
They reflected a part of the story that's really
he's
important.
He's inherited this deal. He can't believe how bad it is.
Surgical change.
Unfortunately for him, both Kyle and Jackie O have signed this in good faith. And, if you make a deal, don't you?
How young
I'm sorry, it's
they
very
were
unfortunate
engaged
that
in the
you're
process of
that you're
taking
stuck
the
with
drugs
this,
and,
but
the
to
kinds of advice that
at least
they were
what
given,
Kyle's saying,
etc.
proactively
None of them,
plot to
some of
blow
the
it
other
up
people,
and call him
respected two Australian psychologists
unprofessional,
who work within
which
the
is
area
what they've
have
done by
been
saying
banished
serious
effectively
misconduct.
from doing that because they don't
He's just not going to cop it, right? And I don't think he should.
Well, maybe they could join Annabelle and Lee on the couch and bring a new vibe to Chat 10 Looks 3.
I'm telling you, if it's $1 per subscriber a month, 800,000, I'll be signing up to see if I can help cut some of this
conversations with a lot of the
Jacko, thank you very much.
All right, thank you for having me on.
Organisations advocating transitioning, and they wouldn't talk except for one person.